that you join me, that you guys join me today. There's so much, there's just so much I can't wait to tell you over the course of this week, right? This whole topic about relationship building has been on my mind in like a really, really big way. I'd like to think that my take on it is what differentiates me from a lot of other coaches out there, who talk a lot about audience and talk a lot about community building. But what I'm seeing is there's not a lot of community. There's not, there aren't deep relationships that are happening within the audiences and within the community. There are other relationships that are being neglected that are crucial to address before you get to that, right? And all of them have to do with the relationship with your business. And that's why we're all here in the Women's Business Garden, right? We have a business and we want it to succeed and we want it to be sustainable, and people keep going to a variety of things to get their business off the ground or to keep it running or to make it grow. But if it's not going back to the foundation of relationships, it's gonna be problematic. And as I was thinking about, right, I always give you guys a peek behind the curtain. As I was thinking about this, I started noticing, so I've been thinking about this longer than I've told you guys. I've been thinking about this for months, right? And I actually started working with a new coach who has made me think about it even more. And as I was thinking about it, I realized how I was starting to go away from my number one value. One of my number one values is relationships, deep, authentic, meaningful relationships. So if I were to rate my core values, that's the top one. And I was starting to lose sight of that a little bit. We're going to talk about that today. And I wanted to stop that. And I wanted to make sure, as I started talking to other people, I realized this is a problem area for many business owners, right? Because there's so much thrown at you in any given day, and it's very easy to get wrapped up in your day and the day-to-day, and it's very hard to remember, right, about relationships and coming at things from a place of relationship building. And I get it, right? I get it because relationship building isn't quick, right? And I do not ignore the fact that people need money to pay bills. People need money to eat. I mean, right? Like we're in business, but we're not all like in a place where we just have this luxury of just sitting back and waiting, right? So I understand that. But at the same time, you simply can't neglect the root of everything. I mean, to speak in garden analogies, because puns, right? It's the whole reason I named Women's Business Garden, so I could use garden puns. Relationship building is the root of everything, right? But what I want to talk to you about, so that's why I decided to have this series, right? This 3-part series this week to talk about relationships and relationship building and 3 different key areas that make a difference in your life and your business in a meaningful way. And I thought it was important enough to allocate it over a whole week, right? I mean, I even made you guys register for this, right? So if you guys can't tell how important I think this is, right, just know it's super important. Hi, Rachel. Hi. Oh my gosh. Hi, Rebecca. Oh, if I don't see you say hi, please, I will. I promise. I'll come back and say hello. So I broke it out into 3 topics. And today's session is about the relationship, the most important relationship in your life. And this is the relationship that we have with ourselves, the relationship that you have with yourself, right? This was something that came up a lot when I was date coaching. And it's funny because I always go around and talk about how everything that I learned, right, when I was being date coached that allowed me to go on 35 dates in 35 days and heal myself and change my life, right? It did change my life. Everything that I learned being coached and then coached people on in a certain way as a date coach myself for years, all of that translated to the business world, right? And it can't be any truer than this statement, which is that no one can love you more than you love yourself, right? That's what I used to say in date coaching. Now, there was a discussion I got into on the Women's Business Garden retreat, and I want to clarify something. I do believe certain people can love you more than you love yourself, right? If you're going through a hard time, can your husband be loving you more than you love yourself at that time? Can your parents be loving you more than you love yourself at that time? Can your siblings and your children? Absolutely, right? But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about these deep connected family relationships and familial relationships that, you know, you're going through a struggle and you really are going through something hard with loving yourself, and other people can step in and love you for you. Right? So I acknowledge that, and I am not talking about that here. I'm talking about just the people we're encountering when we're networking and we're talking to them about our business, or these relationships that we're going out and building in that non kind of connected, unconditional love family way. All right. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Rachel Kraft. Hi, Rachel Paxson. All the Rachels are here. Okay, so no one can love you more than you love yourself, but that's true in business, right? And you can insert any word in place of love. So no one can like you more than you like yourself. No one can respect you more than you respect yourself. No one can believe in you more than you believe in yourself. No one can trust you more than you trust yourself, right? Like no one. It has to start with you. And I could go into universal laws, and we don't have time, you know, for all of that today. But it is important to recognize, right, and to know that how other people see you and feel about you, and when I say you, I also mean your business, it starts with you, right? So it's very important that you dig in and evaluate, how well do I like myself? How well do I respect myself, right? How do I treat myself? Do I love myself? Do I trust myself? All of these things, right? So tell me, like, in the pre-work, I gave you guys some words, right? And so I want you guys to interact, and I want you to type and be talking. I gave you some pre-work, and one thing was to write down the immediate reaction that you had to 3 phrases, right? One was your business, one was your pricing, and the other was you. So tell me, like, let me know what comes up for you. What are the immediate reactions to some of those words, right? Like when you think of your business, like what just pops in your head? A feeling, an emotion, a phrase, words, an image. When you think about your pricing, right? What pops up in your head? What feeling, what emotion? Well, that's the same thing. What words, what thoughts, what images, right? And when you think about you, just you, as a person operating in the world, guys, what comes up for you, right? This is Rebecca. So Rebecca says it could use momentum, right? So it's not moving fast enough for you, or there's not enough of that motivation or emotion there, right? So Virginia's like, I love my business. My pricing is just right. But for herself, right? Successes and failures, joy. Yeah, the world of duality, right? We can't have one without the other, right? Business, fun, how I love these, right? I'll tell you, I'll reveal something. I'm going to reveal a lot about myself today. We're probably going to go over 12:30 too, a little bit. We'll see. When I first started my business, when I first started my coaching business, I felt like an imposter. I don't know how many other people have felt like that, right? Like, who am I to come out into the world and start telling people how to whatever, right? That's when I was a date coach, right? I went from being a lawyer, a business attorney, into date coaching. And one of the first thoughts when people would talk about my business was, how can this be a business? How is this real? Who am I to go tell people how to date, right? Like, who would want to pay for this? I remember thinking, who would want to pay me for this, right? What kind of value am I really bringing these people? I mean, these were real legitimate thoughts that were going through my head, right? So I see that Rachel says, yes, definitely feeling the imposter syndrome lately, right? It's real. And it doesn't, it's not like you kill it once and it's gone forever, right? It can creep back up as you grow into your business. Thank you for sharing that, right? So I want you to know that this is a safe space where you guys can definitely, if you want to sit back and just watch, that's okay. But the more honest you are in the answers here and the deeper you go, right, the more of a change you're going to have, right? Lack of self-care to be able to regulate emotions or remain calm. Lisa, that's a really big insight, right? So hold on to that because we're going to work through that, right? I'm going to share with you something about my reaction to me when I think about me towards the end, right? But these words, whatever they are, Okay, so whatever they are, and they'll change. These reactions to phrases are going to change over a certain time. So even if I know a lot of people who are feeling not as fabulous about their business, not as certain on their pricing, not really believing that everything is correct, a lot of people don't want to share that in a Facebook Live video setting. And I completely respect that, right? So I'm talking to you guys. Don't feel like you have to interact, but I do want you to listen to me, right? So this all ebbs and flows and changes at different points in your life and different points in your career. But these, whatever they are, those initial reactions, positive or negative, they all come from the past, right? I'm sure you've heard that, right? Everything that's happened to you from birth until now, right, is kind of this experience that you've gone through. And all of your experiences spur your thoughts about anything, right? You hear the word Republican, you have a thought. You hear the word Democrat, you have a thought. You hear the word money, you have a thought, right? You hear the word airplane, you have a thought. Whether that's a feeling or an image or whatever, you have a reaction. And it happens without you thinking about it. And those reactions come from our past experiences, good or bad, right? What is important to note about those experiences is that every experience causes you to make a decision about, a decision about yourself, who you are as a person, right? So we're really trying to get into who we are. And I'm going to give you a real personal example, right? Growing up, I was overweight, not a shocker, right? But I was overweight growing up in school, and that was a situation, right? That's an ongoing situation. I was overweight as I went through school. And so a decision that I made about myself based on that situation was that I wasn't lovable as I was, right? Now, this is all work I did date coaching, right? So I wasn't lovable the way I was because I was overweight, right? So therefore, I had to do things to get people to love me, right? I had to go out of my way to be super helpful. I had to, I had to help them with their homework. I had to drive them places. I had to put them before me. I had to do all of these things to earn people's love and respect, because I didn't feel the decision I made about myself being overweight was that I was not worthy, right, of getting that just from being me, that I had to do something extra. I had to be extraordinary and extra special, right, to get people to like me. So the decision about myself was I wasn't worth love and admiration the way I was, right? The choices then that made me make in life were kind of like I said, right? My love choice based on that, right? Talk about, thank God I went through 35 dates and fixes. I was attracted to people who didn't like me back, right? Because that was normal to me. You weren't supposed to just like me, right? I had to earn you. I had to earn your love, right? So I would be attracted to guys who just wanted to be friends. I would be attracted to guys who had partners because I thought, ooh, if I could just get them to pay attention to me instead of their partner, right? There's a lot going on there, right? A lot going on. So as I talk about these, if anybody wants to share kind of a situation and how it's created a decision about you that you think's affected your business choices, please do. Right? And I'm going to give an example of that. My dad left my family when we were young, right? When I was young, my dad left us. So a decision I made about myself was that people leave me. Nobody stays, right? People leave. And the way that affected my business choices was to operate at the beginning of my business from a place of scarcity. People were going to go away. Clients were going to leave. Members were going to leave, and nothing was going to come back. Right? So I operated my business from this place of scarcity. And that, as you all know, is another, Facebook Live for another day, but it made me needy. It made what you think becomes your reality. And so I was operating thinking there was going to be a lack and scarcity. And guess what, everybody? There was a lack and there was scarcity. There was a lack of money and a lack of clients and a lack of everything, right? And I self-fulfilled the prophecy thinking people were going to say no and leave me by creating the energy and the environment that made people say no and leave me because I was operating from scarcity. How many of you, like type 1 in the box, how many of you have had, whether it's now or in the past, had issues with a scarcity-based mindset? something about there's not going to be more to come in. There isn't enough out there. There isn't going to be enough. I'm not going to reach the right level, right? If you feel like that's you, type 1 in the box, right? So everybody knows we're not alone, right, with this. Yeah, so see, and Virginia said getting divorced was a nightmare, and that's a factor in offering mediation services to help people avoid that, right? Yeah, so I see 1, 1, yes, 1, 1, yeah, right, okay. So you guys are with me on this scarcity-based mindset, right? So the reason that I bring this up is we obviously can't do this like through the whole Facebook Live, right? But I want you to spend some time thinking about situations and events from your past, okay? And what that caused you to decide about yourself, about who you are as a person. And then how did those decisions, we'll focus on business choices. How do those decisions about who you are, how does that impact the choices that you've made in your business or that you continue to make in your business? Right? And the reason that I want you guys to work on that, and our next session isn't until Wednesday, so you have some time to do that. And in fact, I'm going to email everybody after, again, right, with the practices, right, from this. But I want you guys to really be thinking about that, because that's the only way we can rewrite how we feel about ourselves. Because again, how we feel about ourselves is how other people are going to feel about us. How we treat ourselves, that's how other people are going to treat us. Right? If we don't believe that our services are worth a certain amount of money, it won't matter how confidently we say it, the other people on the other side of that transaction aren't going to feel it either, right? If we think there's a scarcity and we're operating from that place, other people are going to feel like that needy energy in us and be like, whoa, maybe she's just needy and clingy and she doesn't really like me for me, right? Going back to dating, but that happens in business, right? So that's deeper than we can do in this session, but that's one part. That's the first part of healing the relationship with yourself. That's important. How do these decisions about you affect all of your business choices? How you interact with yourself, how you interact with your business, how you interact with other people, how you interact with clients, how you interact with potential clients, the choices you make about right, wrong, good, bad, processes, procedures, that all comes from decisions that you've made about yourself. And all of those decisions are from past events, right? So it pays to spend a little bit of time. This is not the fun work, but this is the important work. Sitting down and thinking about those, right? And just acknowledging them, because that's the only way you can rewrite them to change them, is to know that they're out there. And the reason, right, that I start here is that your thoughts, everybody who's ever heard me speak knows this, your thoughts become your feelings, and your feelings lead to your actions, and your actions create your results. So if you want new results, it's not enough to just change the actions, right? You gotta go all the way back to the thoughts and change those thoughts to create new feelings that will spur new actions that will create new results, right? You might be able to change the actions and have a temporary new result, but it's not sustainable and it won't last if you don't go back and work on your mind, your mindset, and your thoughts that cause that whole chain anyway. Right? So we're trying to have new results in your business. We're trying to have new results with the relationships that you're creating to ultimately grow this very deep and successful, sustainable business. That's a whole new result, which requires going all the way back to the beginning and changing your thoughts, right? And Allie says that she's the youngest in her family. This is a bit, your place in your family, middle, old, yeah, creates a lot, right? Therefore, I feel this need to prove myself, right? I always feel like my sisters are smarter, excelled more, which has led me to compare myself to others my entire life. And I think it's Laura Casey who says that comparison is the thief of joy, right? Comparison is the thief of joy. And when you're so busy comparing yourself to other people, you're not figuring out who you are, right? You're so busy focused on them and who they are and what they're doing, right? And how you stack up against that, that you're not even thinking about who you want to be and what you want to do, right? So that's a big revelation, Allie. And I really want to thank you for sharing that with everybody. And everybody, you know, give her some likes and loves and like when people share here, like I just, right? It just makes me so happy and I love it, right? So like and love Allie. Let's give all the love to people who open up and share like that. Okay, so that's the first little bit I want you to work on. right, is your mindset part about your decisions about yourself and rewriting the ones that aren't serving you, rewriting the ones that aren't getting you to be able to connect with people, to get people to respect you. If you don't like you, if after looking at this you don't like you and you realize you're not respecting you and you don't like the choices that you're making based on the decisions you've made about yourself, you got to change these, right? You got to change these. Okay. The next part, right, if you notice in the pre-work, how many of you guys did this, or how many of you have done it before? But I had you guys, just type 1 if you did it, or if you thought about it, or if you've done it before. I had you guys write about your ideal day, your ideal business day, what that looks like and feels like and smells like and tastes like, right? You know, how many clients do you have? Where are you working from? What are the personalities of the people you're working with? What are your hours? What's your schedule, right? What are you doing in a day? How are you spending the day? What tasks are you doing? What tasks aren't you doing, right? All of that, right? Your ideal business day. Okay. So before I get into talking about that, I'm going to explain to you why, and I see a lot of people have done that. That's really great. If you haven't done it yet, that's going to be part of what you're going to work on between now and Wednesday's session, right? Okay, so the reason I had you guys do that is we are made up, like if you, I'm going to lay some science on you. We're made up of something called our self-concept, okay? Our self-concept is who we are. Our thoughts, our judgments, our morals, our beliefs, what we think is right or wrong, good or bad, what we do, what we believe, all of that, morals, all of it, right? That's our self-concept. We are just one big cloud of self-concept. But our self-concept is made up of 3 areas. So if you're taking notes, this is a place to take notes. Our self-concept is made up of 3 things, okay? Our self-ideal. And our self-ideal is exactly that. Who would we be if we were the perfect person? If we could do everything we wanted and have every choice that we make work out. We had every resource available to us and everything that we're doing just works out, right? What would we be doing? How would we be spending our day? What would it be full of? Who would we be around? What would we be talking about? What kind of food would we be eating? What kind of, how would we be spending our free time? Would we be riding a bike or reading a book? If we're reading a book, are we reading a fiction book or a nonfiction book, right? So really tapping into who would we be? What would we be doing if we were a perfect person, right? If we could just always do everything we wanted. That's our self-ideal. That's part 1, right? Part 2 is our self-image. That's what are we doing, right? How are we spending our day? What are we eating? Who are we around? What tasks are we doing? How are we spending our free time? What does our environment look like? Where are we working from? What are the hours we're working, right? That's our actuality. So we have our ideal, our self-ideal, what we want everything to be like, and we have our self-image, how everything is, right? And the third part is our self-esteem. And self-esteem is how well you like yourself, which is what we're talking about today, right? Self-esteem is simply how well do I like myself? That's it. It's not confidence. I want to put a little side note. It's not confidence. Confidence means making eye contact, smiling, working a room, shaking hands, right? Being able to talk in public. That's confidence. You can have confidence and have really low self-esteem. You could be up on that stage, working that stage, and go behind the curtain and go, I'm such an imposter. I can't believe anybody listened to me. I was an idiot. I looked like a fool. Nobody respected what I said. Everybody hated it. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Right? You can have confidence and have low self-esteem. Self-esteem is simply how well do you like yourself, right? Which now we've already talked about where that might come from, but this is a new piece to the puzzle, right? Because here's some news. Here's the good news, right? The more that our self-ideal, who we want to be and what we want to be doing, is in alignment with who we are and what we are doing, right? The more that those line up, the higher our self-esteem. The more that those are out of alignment, the lower our self-esteem. That's it. That's the puzzle. There are no more missing pieces to that. Those are every single piece you need, right? That's it. That's every piece you need. The more we are doing what we would be doing in our ideal life every day, the higher our self-esteem. And guess what, guys? When our self-esteem is high, fear of failure, fear of rejection, and fear of other people's opinions gets lower. The lower our self-esteem, the higher those fears, right? So it's really important that we have high self-esteem so that fears of failure, rejection, and other people's opinions are low. And the only way we can have high self-esteem is by looking at that ideal life that you guys mapped out, right? And you can do it in every area, not just business, but really look at it and ask yourself, how well am I doing that? Where am I out of alignment, and how can I get in alignment with it? Type 2 for me if you think you're not in alignment with your ideal day. Type a 2 if you think you're not in alignment with your ideal day, or if you could be more in alignment with your ideal day. And I mean down to details. The food you're eating, the way you're spending your free time, the hours that you're working, the people, the clients, the customers you have, you know, the way you are out when you're networking or at events. Like, how many are out of alignment with who they want to be or what they want to be doing, right, in some way? And it's important to notice that and know where. So here, I know it's 12:30. We're going to go over by about 10 minutes, but it's so worth it, right? Hopefully you guys think so too. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. A lot of people say, but Rita, I always love that, right? But Rita, my self-ideal is on and around the world cruise, right? My self-image can't afford an around the world cruise, time or money. So am I just screwed? Am I just going to have low self-esteem forever and ever and ever? And what I ask them is, why? Why do you want that around the world cruise? What's the why? And maybe they say, I want to experience other cultures. And I say, great. What's one way that you can experience other cultures right now in alignment with your time and money? And they might say, well, I could watch a documentary, I could go to this museum exhibit, I could read this book, I could join this discussion group, I could go to this meetup, I could go, you know, to this restaurant, right? So there's some way that they can still be in alignment with going on an around the world cruise that's not the around the world cruise, right? They want the around the world cruise because they want to experience other cultures. There is some way right now that you can get in alignment with every single thing in your ideal day. So the second part of your homework is to figure out, where do you need to get into alignment? And then how can you do it? You might not be able to do the thing in your ideal day quite yet, right? But you can do something that gives you the same result as why you want that thing to be that way or do that thing. The more you can do that quickly, the higher your self-esteem. The higher your self-esteem, the more you like yourself. Guess what? The more you like yourself, the more other people like you, right? Do you guys see? Do you see it now? Are you feeling it? Woo, woo. Right? And liking yourself is the key to authentic relationships, because when fears of failure, rejection, and other people's opinions are low, you can be you. You can say what you want to say without fear. You can implement the things you want without fear. You can ask for what you need without fear. You can bring to the table what you want to bring to the table without fear, right? And it's that allows you to have deep and meaningful connections with the people that you're interacting with in a variety of ways, right? So to do that, you have to have high self-esteem. And to have high self-esteem, you have to be living your ideal day. So you have to know what that is, right? So you got your mindset right. Now you know what your ideal day is. Right now we know how to work on the mindset part of how do we like ourselves. And what does that mean for the choices that we're making? And what are the ideal choices we want to be making? And evaluating, are we, aren't we? And getting those in alignment, right? And the last piece of the self-esteem and relationship puzzle and healing the relationship with you are your core values. So who wants to share some, part of the homework was, or part of the pre-work was, identify 3 of your top core values, right? Like mine are community, relationships, and family, right? Community, relationships, and family. Those are the top 3 of my core values. I've got others, humor, right? But like what are like some of yours? Just type them into the comment box for me so I can see some, right? And if you haven't given any thought, think about it right now, right? What are some of your core values? And the reason that I ask this, and your ideal day, side note, your ideal day is rooted in your core values. Okay, so however you describe your ideal day, it will start revealing what your core values are if you don't know, because your ideal day is rooted in your core values, okay? But type in some, right? Mine's community, family, and relationships. Those are like 3 of my driving core values, right? Deep, authentic, real, meaningful relationships, deeply connected community, Those are just two of the top, right? So please share. I'm not seeing any comments. I don't know if you guys are typing or not, and it's just not showing. But some people say financial, right? Financial responsibility. Some say respect. Some say justice. Some say friends. Some say love. Some say there are all kinds of core values, right? Type in a few that are important to you so I know, so I can see, right? But the reason that I bring this up is that a part of our ideal day, since our ideal day is rooted in our core values, to like ourselves, to have high self-esteem means we have to be living those core values. And a lot of people will say to me, but Rita, I'm living my core value. I'm living my core values. And I will say, are you sure? And I'll give you an example. So some people will say, a core value for me is respect. And I say, great, how well are you respecting other people? And they'll say, awesome, I respect other people wonderfully. And I'll say, perfect, great. How well do you stand up for other people who aren't being respected, right? So I am directly respecting you. Awesome. Do I stand up for other people who are not being respected? Yes, Rita, when I see other people not being respected, I stand up for that. I'm a member of this organization and I advocate for this and I stand up for it. Awesome. But then I ask the third most important part. How well do you respect yourself? Are you honoring your time blocks? Do you believe yourself? Do you keep your promises? Do you keep your commitments? Do you respect you? It's usually the answer I get, right? It's the same thing for love, right? I love other people. I love, love, love. Awesome. When I see other people being abused and not being loved, I step in, right? I help. Great. How well do you love yourself? How well do you practice love for yourself, right? Self-care, all of that. You guys see a pattern of what I get? To live your core value is doing it all three ways. And if you miss one way, you're not living your core value. You're not living in alignment with it. You've got to, whatever your core values are, you have to make sure that you are living that value for other people, like directly when you're interacting with other people. So if community is one of mine, when I talk to you guys, I have to be fostering community, real community, to be able to live that core value, right? I have to be standing up for it in other ways. I have to be advocating for community, which is what I'm doing with this series, right? But in a variety of ways, I need to be making community, making space, making sure other people know that they're communities, right? Advocating for third parties, for community. And then for me, I have to be living community for me. Am I a part of a community? Am I in community with my family? Am I in community with what I want to be in community with, not just leading it, right? So do you guys see that core values? You have to be living it in three different ways. And again, if you guys are commenting, I can't see them anymore. The comments have disappeared. So after the video, I will go through and see. So if you have comments, please keep typing them. So it's really important that you ask yourself, when you identify your core values, and again, if you have those, please share them in the comments. Am I living this directly with other people fully? Am I advocating for this with third parties fully? Am I standing up for it, right, in a variety of ways outside of my direct interactions fully? And am I doing it for me, right? So these are the three ways that you can start healing the relationship with yourself, okay? You need to work on your mindset, identify those decisions that you've made about yourself based on your past and how that affects your choices. And then for choices you don't like, choices you don't want to be making, rewrite those decisions about yourself. Then for your ideal day, start aligning your life with it in some way. Really know what it is, get clear on it, and start doing things immediately in alignment with your current time, your current money, to start living that ideal life, to align them, right? The more you do that, those two things, your self-esteem's already up, and we already know fear of failure, rejection, and other people's opinions goes away, which allows you to have a real connection and be authentic, right? And then finally, your core values. Ask yourself how well you're really living them. Are you living them in all three ways? Are you doing them for other people? Are you doing them to stand up for third parties? And are you living it fully for yourself? Because that's the one people usually miss, right? And only then, when you start loving that's how you love yourself fully. You're living your values, you're in alignment with your ideal day, and you have the right decisions about you and who you are, right? And when you do that and you're operating out in the world right, then other people are going to feel that and mirror that energy back to you. You will like you, you will love you, you will respect you, you will honor you, you will trust you, and other people will do the same for you, right? And that's a game changer, guys. So it won't matter about all this other stuff I'm going to tell you about all week long if you don't first go and fix this, because this is the root. This is the stuff under the ground, right? That's going to grow everything that we're talking about. And so that's what I wanted to tell you, right? So now look back. How well do you like yourself? Thinking about these things. Where can you work on? What can you do to like yourself more, to love yourself more, to respect yourself more, to believe in yourself more? What areas do you need to focus on, right? Write those down. And I'm going to close by sharing something. So please, if you have questions, please type them. Again, I can't see anything, so I don't know if you're all just being quiet or if you don't have any questions, but if you have anything, please type or do something so I know, or just type to let me know you can hear me, and then I'll see. And like I said, if for some reason the comments aren't showing for me, I will go back and answer them when this is over. So, but I want to close by sharing a personal story about myself. I told you that I started slipping away from some of this stuff, right? And it was hurting my business. In fact, my business has stalled for a little bit. And it wasn't, my business, it was good, and I love all my clients, and I love everything that I'm doing, but it had definitely stalled, right? My business had absolutely just hit this spot where I felt like I was banging my head against a wall, okay? And I will go into that more in more videos, but so I went back and I examined this stuff, and I noticed that some of the old decisions that I thought I had worked on were creeping back up, right? Mainly the decision about me having to do a lot and give a lot for people to like me, right? And that scarcity, the two I shared at the beginning, the scarcity-based mindset, those were starting to rear their ugly head again. And I had to ask why. Why were these mindsets coming back up? Because it was keeping me in scarcity. It was keeping me from asking for the sale. It was keeping me in charging the rates that I knew that I was worth. It was making me feel like an imposter all over again. And I had to ask why. Why were these coming up? And I realized it was because I had started falling out of alignment with my ideal day, right? Here's the thing. I built my women's business garden business up wonderfully. I have amazing clients. I have a full client load, right? But I have too full of a client load to the point where I'm stretched so thin with my clients that I'm able to serve them, and they're all having miraculous breakthroughs, but I can't go as deeply as I want to with each of them. I can't push up my sleeves and dig into their businesses the way I want, because hours in a day just simply don't allow for me to do it the way I really want to be doing it, right? I have started making choices out of alignment in other areas of my life, with my health and my wellness and working out and sleeping and time with my husband, because again, I let myself build up such wonderful, because I wanted to help so many people, and I wanted to help so many different people in a variety of ways. I was giving a lot of free programs, and I'm doing, a couple of group programs, and then I just could not say no to these amazing people I wanted to work with, right? And so that meant that I was starting to live out of alignment with my ideal day, right? I wasn't working out, wasn't eating right again, I wasn't spending time with friends, I wasn't spending that much time with my husband. And guess what? Fear started popping back up. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of other people's opinions, right? I wasn't making choices in alignment with my core values anymore, because I was like a scarcity-based mindset again, and I was in fear a little bit, and I was scrambling, and I wasn't being authentically me, and I wasn't creating the community that I wanted to create and the deep relationships that I wanted to create, right? So I sat down and I noticed this, and I said, something has to change. And I went back to the work I had done with my previous coach and got my mindset, tidied up again. I was like, no, this is ridiculous, right? I am not the Rita of 5 years ago when I started coaching. Rita now has a lot of experience under her belt. I was a business attorney before that, right? But Rita now has a lot of experience. I'm talking through this because I want you guys to do the same thing for you. Okay, Rita now has a lot of experience, and I had a lot of experience going into coaching. I was an attorney, right? And I have coached many people to grow their businesses and make good profits. I've gotten people married. I have helped people change their lives in real significant ways. I have a lot of training. I have a lot of experience. I have seen a lot and done a lot over the past 5 years. I am not the same Rita that started coaching 5 years ago. So why am I charging the same rates that Rita did 5 years ago? Why have I not changed my business model since I started coaching? Right? I don't know how many of you feel the same way when you look back. If you do, let me know in the comments, right? But that's very real. Why am I evolving in every way but treating myself and my business like I'm not when it comes to the logistics of my business? Right? That was like, and that's what was limiting me from being able to go deep with my clients. Because I was stuck in scarcity and because I was stuck in my value, right? Having to give away things to make people like me and no one's just going to want me the way I am. All of those started resurfacing, right? So the way that I cleaned it back up, went back through, I have a brag file. So if you guys keep a brag file, it's, how you can go ahead and brag on yourself and feel good about your accomplishments. Keep all your testimonials, all your wins, all the good stuff that's happened, all the compliments. Go back and remind yourself of how far you've come, right? So that you know your value. Fix that mindset, right? Live your day in alignment with your ideal day. That's everything that I did, right? And when I started doing that, then the fears went away and I started getting clear about my ideal day and what I needed to do to bring that into alignment, right? So this is the first time I've announced this, but I'm changing for the first time in 5 years. I am changing my model, my business model, and the way that I work with people. And it's going to result eventually, as I transition into fewer clients, but clients that are ready to go deeper and do more work, who are really committed to the end result, who are ready to invest themselves fully, because I plan on investing myself fully. I plan on giving more time and more attention than I ever have before, giving more resources, giving more of myself as I kind of change the back end of my business to allow for that time while still having time. Right, while still having time to go work out and eat the right foods and see my husband and go speak and do trainings like this and do all of this, right? And so that new model is transitioning immediately as of November. And what that means is that I only have 3 spots, which freaks me out a little to say, still a little, 3 spots to work with people between now and the end of the year. Right? That's it. So if any of it, I know some people here had talked about potentially working with me, and I can just tell you that if you're that person I talked about, the one who's ready to go all in and really say, this is the year I fix the relationship with myself. So then I can fix relationship with time and money, which we're going to talk about on Wednesday. And then I can create my community, create my tribe, build my business, live my values, and do what I want to do the way that I want to do it, right? If that's you, if you're like, I don't want to wait anymore. I want that level of success. I don't want to be stuck. I don't want to be stopped. I want to keep growing. I want to keep moving. I want to keep advancing forward, and I don't want to wait, right? Then you probably want to talk to me. And if you find that any of this is hard, to identify your core values, or to know what your ideal day is like, or to work through those mindsets, the decisions that you've made about yourself, right? So we can get your self-esteem high. If you jotted any of those down as being problematic, message me, let me know, say, Rita, I want to have a strategy session with you, right? And we'll have a complimentary strategy session, and we will work through things. And at the end, we're going to see if moving on and working together to do that is the right fit. If it's not, then it's not. If it is and it's the right time, then that's great. And if it is, I can tell you, be really, really, really excited about what's going to head your way. I know I'm really excited. I've got a couple of clients who are really excited, and you could feel that excitement again. You could feel that energy again about new things, right? New growth, new energy, new everything that's going to flow into your business, right? So if you think that might be you, please reach out to me, right? Because this is the first time I've ever said, I'm limiting the number of people I'm taking. Like, my husband still can't believe I'm like, because I'm usually like, I want to work with everybody. But like, no, I'm legitimately changing my business model. And so, and I'm ready to dive in, right? With these kind of clients who are ready to invest all of themselves so I can invest all of myself, right? So please, if you're having an issue with anything we talked about today, let me know between now in the comments. I will answer them. Message me. I will try my best to answer as much as I can before our next session on Wednesday. Because how I tell you to improve your relationship with time and money won't matter. What you implement won't matter if you haven't done this work to improve the relationship with yourself first, right? You can hopefully see how that truly is the root of everything. And if you don't have that strong root, what happens to a tree in a storm? It blows over, right? We want to get you rooted so that a deep, deep, strong, big root, right? So that you're able to really have the success that you want. So again, I don't know if you guys were there or not because everything disappeared for me. I'm so sorry about that. Freaking Facebook, right? Hopefully you guys can hear me. And like I said, if you have comments, if you have questions, if you have things, please keep them rolling in the comment box. I will be looking, I will be answering between now and our next session on Wednesday. If you want to talk with me, if any of this resonated, if you know, right? Because it won't matter what else. It won't, I'm not even just saying this is like a thing. I really, really mean it. It will not matter what else you do in your business, what funnels you create, what lead magnet you create, what number of people you have on your list, what vendor shows you go to, what packages you create, where you speak. None of that will matter if you really do not have this relationship with yourself in place. That is how crucial it is. It will not matter, guys. I'm 100% real on that. And so I want you to address this before you address anything else. So if that is problematic for you, if you're like, I cannot afford another, month or 2 or 3 months of wasting my time and my energy and my resources, I'm ready for the right business and I know that that starts with me, then message me about this stuff and we will get it in shape. I promise. Okay. So anyway, that's it. I'm sorry I can't see your questions. Maybe when I end, I will be able to. If you have anything, please let me know. Otherwise, join me on Wednesday. I think I'm just going to say it's a lunch hour seminar at this point. Join me on Wednesday, and we're going to talk about the next biggest relationships, time and money, and how to have a healthy, sexy relationship with both, right? Because that was the second thing that changed the game for me and my business, actually having healthy and sexy and exciting, right, relationships that I look forward to with time and money. Okay, guys, bye. If you can see, if you can type, say bye, bye, bye. And I will talk to you. Again, I'm sorry this froze. I will be working to answer any questions. And hopefully you found this really helpful, right? I can't wait to hear everything that you do with your decisions about yourself, with aligning your day with your ideal version of your day, and with kind of living those core values fully on all 3 levels, and knowing that that's going to make all of these fears disappear. So take care. Have a good day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.